We're starting.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's fun.
I've got a thing here.
Oh, wait.
You ready?
Not that
Okay.
these are going to stay on.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're all in the meeting. I see there's 40. Well, there's a few more people just joining. We're going to give everybody a couple more minutes. So, Aloha.
Hi, David. Hi, Jennifer.
How are you doing?
How do I
Hi, everybody. Hi, Tamil.
Hello, Mr. Vijay. How are you?
Hi, good to see you.
Great, great.
Or good to
Let
hear
me say
you.
my-
Hi, hello.
Hi, Klaus.
Hi,
I'm putting my video on. Yeah.
Could I ask people to mute themselves? I'm about to mute you anyway, but I will mute all. Okay.
Hello,
Hello?
David. Hello. Some suntan here.
Okay, we're still waiting a few minutes. For those of you who've just joined us, we are waiting for a couple more people to join. And if you are coming into the meeting, could you make sure you're on mute? Okay, so we're just waiting for the last two people to join the meeting from the meeting room, and we'll begin. Okay, so I'm going to start the meeting now. Welcome to everybody. I just want to explain a little bit of a background to this meeting. You know, we're all in quite a serious situation here. So we thought we'd have a bit more of a light-hearted approach to a meeting that we would normally have in Barcelona at OTX. So that's why we look like we're coming from the beach. You know, I've got a flowery top on. I have a cocktail here as well. You'll see my colleagues have them as well. We hope you've come with a beer. We promise not to mention the C word at all. I'm sure you've heard way too much about it. All I want to say is we hope you're well, you're safe, your family are healthy as well. So we've got everybody on mute. Please, if you're not on mute, please mute yourself. But feel free to type questions into the chat at the bottom, okay? And we'll take questions at the end of this meeting. So I'm David Grieve, and I'm coming to you from Sheffield, which is a little known area of Thailand, as you might see from my background. Klaus, where are you from today? Where are you coming from?
I'm at the brilliant seaside here in Bavaria, just outside Munich. Wonderful. It's like really great here.
And Jen, where are you?
From this amazing place, Bend, Tulum.
Excellent. And Paavo, over to you. You look like you're underwater, actually.
Yeah, I'm in SpongeBob World at the Bikini Bottom in Sweden.
Smashing. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So we're your hosts for today's beach party. And what I'd like to do is, well, Well, I think the first thing to do is have a drink, because we're going to be there by the sea, and we'd like to welcome you to. Klaus, could you move to the next slide, please?
You should see it already. You see it?
No.
Okay.
Technology's so fun.
Okay, it should work.
Ah, finally, cheers.
There we
So
go.
we want to say cheers to you. Since we can't be with you by the seaside in Barcelona, we thought we'd bring it to you in a different way and just say, let's bring your own drink, have a drink together, and thank you so much for coming along and joining us today. We're going to give you an update on what's going on in the world of Autodesk and the OEM products in the next 30 to 40 minutes. And hope sit back, enjoy yourselves, take a sip of your drink, and join us for this very interesting update. Okay, so I'm going to hand you over to, next slide please, Klaus, to Klaus Muller. Well, I'm going to have another drink.
Okay. So hello, welcome. Thank you, David, to
Klaus,
the beaches.
I'm not seeing your next slide.
Yeah, it takes obviously a little bit. We have like more than 70 people in the Zoom meeting, so it takes a little bit longer than expected. Or at the rehearsal, it was easier to flip over. But what you should see now is the safe harbor statement, which is super important, but as you are all familiar with Autodesk presentations, you know this by heart anyway, so that is clear. So maybe you see we are here in Bavaria, obviously the winners of the climate change. You see here the Alps, the rest of the Alps, and the water has come in a little bit. Let me put this away and be a bit more serious. I wanted really to say thank you, first of all, to David and Jen from TechSoft, because we normally wanted to see you next Tuesday in Barcelona, and David and Jen, they already have organized a wonderful evening in a wonderful restaurant facing the inner harbor next to the W Hotel. It would have been a wonderful evening, and we thought like, okay, we're not going there this year, but at least we give you some views towards towards the sea, and at least pretend that we were there. So then a big thank you to you. Thanks for joining today, taking your time. I mean, thanks for your business this year, especially in these times. It's extremely good and feels really good to have partners like you that are, you know, working together. We're looking at the same direction. That is really positive. We had a wonderful or really great year, and thank you for your business. I mean, when we set up that meeting today, there were a couple of questions popping up. For example, how is the OEM business doing? So it's doing extremely well, thanks to TechSoft and David and the team. I mean, we are in a double-digit growth mode, and this is, I think, a very positive message. So the OEM business as such is growing. We have partners that are doing extremely well, and we are onboarding new partners. I think that's a positive message for the whole OEM community. Then the next question is, can we continue selling perpetual licenses? Sure you can. I mean, Autodesk has now ended the business model transition. we have gone through that. So we are, after 3 years, really in a complete term-based mode. But you are getting a software development kit, and it's up to you how you secure your software. And certainly you can sell perpetual licenses. If you ask me if this is a wise decision, I would encourage you to look at a term-based model, and if you can go in that same direction, we give you later a few information, a little bit of information around that. Will Autodesk continue with the OEM program? Yes, sure. I mean, I do not know what's tomorrow is, or in the next 6 or 12 months, or in the next like couple of years. But I mean, if you look at my job, or if you look at David, we have been working together for almost 8 years now. I mean, that is a long continuity, and I expect the OEM program to continue. I mean, we have additional programs, you know that. We have Forge, that is an adjacent technology, which is extremely important from my perspective. You should be on top of this. Also, I always want you that you are on top of our cloud solutions like BIM 360, Fusion 360, etc. That is important for your business and the collaboration and your future developments. Will Techsoft 3D be my partner in the future? Yes, I expect that. I don't have other information from Techsoft, but yes, we have been we have a really positive relationship, and you get everything from Techsoft what we cannot provide. I mean, you get the software development kits, you get the technology background, you get an onboarding training, etc., etc. So that's what Techsoft will be doing in the future. I'm very sure. Can we keep our worldwide contracts? Yes, you can. Why not? So the OEM program is a worldwide program. If you reduce your program to the Americas, or if you say like, I'm not want to sell outside of the European community, you certainly can put that into your contracts if you want to, but as long as this program runs as it is, yes, you can keep your worldwide programs. This is a slide that I really proud to show. I mean, I cannot comment on the figures, but if you are interested in these figures, how they compare with the past, you are, I mean, these are from our web page, www.autodesk.com/investors. And you get all the balance sheets and all the information you need here. I mean, if you, most of you are very familiar with Autodesk, and you look at the first figure, $4.2 billion in billings. We have approximately 10,000 employees right now, so you can do the math. As I said, I cannot comment on these figures, but they are really fantastic. 25% operating margin, 1.36 billion free cash flow, 3.3 in total revenue. That is the revenue we have in our balance sheet with all the deferrals from the year before and the money that we push into the next year. You know, we have multi-year contracts, etc. And 4.9 million total subscriptions right now. Why do I show this to you? Because the question is often, is Autodesk the right horse where I put my money on? And I would say yes. You can put your money on Autodesk, and the relationship that we have and the technology investments that we do and the results that you see here justify that relationship. Absolutely. If you look back, I already said that we have gone through that business model change. I hope you're seeing the billings of the last like 5 years now. Hope these slides come through, and you see that there's a there's a dip within the last like 5 years, and you see where we're heading towards in those figures. So there are a few news that I wanted to tell you. I mean, it is not 100% relevant to the OEM channel and to you as individual license or licensees in this environment. But I want you to know what Autodesk does and how your license models and end user licensing relates with the standard offerings that Autodesk is offering with the normal VARs. And I always want you to be aware where we are or where Autodesk, in which direction Autodesk goes and where you are. And then you can take decisions within your company if you want to lead or if you want to follow or not. Autodesk in this perspective is really leading the way. We are the absolutely first in the industry sector that have gone through that business model change from perpetual to term-based licenses. Now we are going towards an SaaS provider. And basically that means that we are focusing 100% on named user licenses, and we discontinue multi-user seats. So this is what this means. So the question is, why do we do this? Why do we focusing on an SaaS individual named user? So what I have shown you here is a little picture from my own private Prime video account. I mean, you obviously see that my daughter has taken over my account and she is watching BB and Tina. And I am watching Eurosports because everybody knows that I'm a big football fan. I'm learning English with Faulty Towers with my son. And certainly I personally look at the Grand Tour or other things that are, for me personally, interesting in Amazon Prime. It becomes more interesting when you look into my music account. So I'm right now listening to the Little River Band, which makes me pretty old, I think. So this is a band. David is laughing. So this is a band that was really in the 70s, late 70s. I mean, if you look in, 80s music and stuff. But Amazon obviously knows me very well. I get recommendations here. I got Kate Bush, a recommendation for Kate Bush, I think, or Bob Marley and the Wailers. I think I haven't listened to Bob Marley and the Wailers for like 25 years or something like that. So they know exactly what I want. So, and this is also something we need to, or our customers expect from a company like Autodesk in that technology scene. So we want to focus very strongly, very, very much on users. We want to enable them to make smarter decisions based on user data, increase their productivity, reduce their IT costs. So this is what we want to do. We want to give them access to individual software and do recommendations like Bob Marley and the Wailers. Every customer will, or every seat will come along with a plan. I show you the plans in a minute, and you can buy, you have staggered plans. They are really tiered, tailored to your business needs and your budget, and you get a lot of flexibility. So basically we come from a serial number business to a named user business. And it will work with like your login with your name and your password, like you know this from Amazon or from other software application that you're using basically every day. So why plans? We will have 3 plans, the standard plan. So if you buy a software, or if you are investing in a software for 1 year or 3 years, then you get that individual access. You have a 24/5 chat support, so standard information. You get all the information how you use the software and can make decisions upon that. But if you are a little bit larger company, beginning from 50 seats, you are offered the premium plan. Then you have a 24/7 telephone support, and you will be getting a kind of dashboard where you see all your customers or your users internally, who's using the software, to what extent, what are they doing with the software and stuff. And then you can really make smart decisions. Who's gonna renew the software and who's not. I think this is the new way to use software within companies, and this will be the successor basically of the multi-user or networked licenses. Depends on how you call it. And if you're an enterprise customer, you certainly have that dashboard within your company, and then you see who's using what, and then we have a lot of additional people there, and another using system with token flex. So you using tokens, and then you pay for the tokens. So what's retiring and when? I mean, we're gonna discontinue the multi-user sales in next year, in August. We wanted to do this a little bit earlier, but now we moved it out to August the 7th next year. And also we will discontinue the maintenance plans. So also next year, maintenance will be not available any longer. So if you are sticking to your perpetual license, you still can buy the maintenance, and you get the new versions every year. But we will discontinue this model also next year. So I think this is important for you to know. Also, it is important that we offer multi-user customers a trade-in offer. So we know that every multi-user has approximately 1.7 users. So we offer every multi-user customer 2 for 1. So 2 single seats for 1 multi-user. And this is a program that we continue up to next year in August. We are continuously working with our VAR channel, with our distribution. The whole thing is quite sophisticated. So, and the situation right now doesn't help a lot. So we have prepared a lot of material, and we really teach our partners here in that way. So last slide from my side. We really want to encourage you to compare your sales model that you are driving right now, the perpetual model. Most of you are on a perpetual model mode with the Autodesk model. And there are many questions like, how could a subscription model look for my company? Do I have a named user model already? What about my network licenses in the market? What do I do here? Then can I offer additional tools for my customers? How can I move from a sales model to a service model? Do I know my customers well enough? Is it smart to do a hybrid model? That's always a question, perpetual and subscription, and what impact has this model financially for the next 3 years? So we have found a book where we don't get any royalties or something on that. So we are just recommending it because we think it's good. It's downloadable for, I think, $13 or something at Amazon. I did it and I think it's good. So if you want to start really a point A, where you want to have a point A to start and thinking about moving from a perpetual license model to a subscription license model, read this book. Is from, I think, a founder from Salesforce.com, or at least a very senior person, Tien Tzuo. It has a lot of examples, not only Autodesk and Adobe, but also from areas like of IT, you know, not IT world. It's, I think, a very cool and an informative start. It's called Subscribed. Okay, so that's the news from Autodesk. Thank you very much for listening. And it's extremely warm here.
Thank you, Klaus.
Like,
That was fabulous.
I'm moving back to the shore in Sheffield.
Thank you. I've read that book, Subscribed. It's a very good introduction to subscription. It's amazing what you can use subscription for. So pretty much anything you buy today, you can run a subscription for. So I do recommend it. It's a very good read. And by the way, Klaus, I saw you had Kate Bush on your music selection. She was one of my favorite artists when I was a young man as well. So I think we're the same age there as well.
Yeah, kind of. And the funny thing was, I was in Dublin a couple of weeks ago, and our headquarters in Dublin, our European headquarters, used to be a recording studio. And this record was recorded at that very office where we are in Dublin. So how do I know it? They have that on the pavement. So the record is behind glass on the pavement right in front of the office. So when you ever come to Dublin, look at it. It's really interesting.
Thank you. So I'm going to just share my screen, and I hope you can see that. I mean, we're at the beach. We want to take a moment to just have a drink, say cheers. Thank you for joining us. I see there's 87 people in this meeting, and I'd just like to say there's people come in from all over the world. There's people from India, West Coast of America, South Africa, all over Europe. It's a real international crowd, and this is one of the benefits of these virtual meetings. We've never had such a diverse, wide, and large crowd in one of our meetings. So cheers, thank you for joining us. We'll see you at the beach next year. Okay, good. So what I'd like to do is move on and talk about a few other things that are happening in the OEM world. Just give me a moment for my slides to catch up. Can always have another beer whilst we're waiting. Oh, I like these things. Okay, so we're going to do an OEM products update, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the OEM world. You've probably received some emails from us last week. If you haven't, please check your spam, because we had the earliest, since I've been doing this job, AutoCAD OEM release. So AutoCAD OEM 2021 with all languages was released last week. If you want a copy, just email us. We'll get you a serial number. You can download that, no problem. If you're one of the lucky customers that has a contract limited agreement for AutoCAD Architecture, MAP, or 3ds Max, they are also released, and we can get you serial numbers for those as well. And if you also jointly license Real DWG, we just sent out that release notice on Friday. Coming next week is Inventor OEM 2021. Again, super early this year. I think it's because everybody's stuck inside. They've got the wriggle on, and they've got everything out on time. So next week we'll be sending announcements about Inventor OEM. Good. So I want to dive in now and hand over to my colleague Paavo Rantanen, who's going to go and run through the AutoCAD OEM 2021 features. Just give me a moment to switch the screens. And handing over to you, Paavo, when you're ready. I can't hear you, by the way.
There we go.
There we go.
Yes, can you now hear me?
Yep.
And you can also see my screen, perhaps?
Yep, you're up. Loud and clear.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to some of the new features and commands and requirements in AutoCAD OEM 2021. Is it updating the screen?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So XREF Compare, the new XREF Compare feature helps you understand what has changed in the files referenced by your drawing. This is basically the DWG Compare feature with some enhanced functionality to manage the additional complexity that comes with XREFs. You can easily toggle the visibility on and off for changes in the comparison, geometry that hasn't changed or isn't being compared, such as the host drawing or other references. While in comparison mode, you can make edits to the current drawing based on the comparison result. I'm going to assume that the slide is updated now. Quick measure. The quick option of the, thank you. The quick option of the measure geom command now supports measuring the area and perimeter within a space enclosed by geometric objects in the plan view of a drawing. Clicking within a closed area highlights it in green and displays the calculated values in the command window, as well as in a dynamic tooltip in the current units format. You can use Shift while clicking to select several areas, and the cumulative area and perimeters are calculated. We also have an enhancement to DWG Compare, meaning that you can compare your DWG with another version of the drawing in the same drawing session. Revision Cloud enhancements. The first time a revision cloud is created in a drawing, the size of the arcs is determined based on the percentage of the diagonal length of the current view. This ensures that the revision cloud starts at a reasonable size. The revision cloud is now a separate object type, no longer a polyline, and the properties palette will display some revision cloud specific properties like the arc properties and different grip styles. Trim and extend option. Instead of having to first select boundaries for the trim and extend commands, the default quick mode selects all potential boundaries by default. This means you can select the segments to be trimmed or extended directly by individual selection, freehand selection, and two-point fence selection. For example, it's not apparent in the illustration on the screen whether the two wall lines continuing upward and the two lines blocking the doorway are either individual line segments and need to be erased or part of longer lines that need to be trimmed. Trimming with quick mode using freehand selection for the wall lines and two fence points for the doorway trims or erases the objects as required. Break at point. This is a new command. This command directly separates a line, arc, or open polyline into two objects at a specified point. The purge command has become easier to use and includes an object preview window that is also resizable. Performance, pan, zoom, and orbit smoother and faster in real time with multi-core processors. When panning and zooming in 2D, AutoCAD OEM automatically performs regeneration operations for a faster and smoother experience. 3D orbit, pan and zoom operations are also more responsive, especially for complex 3D models due to multi-core processors. I think I covered most of these new commands listed here, except the one that is called VLDebug. There's a new Autolisp extension for Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is a Microsoft free cross-platform code editor for Mac OS, Linux, and Windows. And Visual Studio Code can be used by AutoCAD OEM developers to write, load, and debug unbound Autolisp files inside the relaxed version of AutoCAD OEM. The runtime expression evaluator can be used in the Visual Lisp IDE, what we normally call VLIDE, or as a part of the new Autolisp extension for Visual Studio Code. Here are some new variables. I'm not going to talk of any specific variables in the list. Almost all of them have been added to support the new commands and their different options, just to give you an idea. Microsoft Visual Studio 2019 must be used when building AutoCAD OEM 2021 based applications and compiling native Object-ARX projects. Applications that require the use of Microsoft .NET Framework should target the 4.8 version. As we have seen in the previous years, we don't see very revolutionary changes to the product. With each new release, we mainly get improved stability, performance, and usability with less manual steps to complete a task. And AutoCAD OEM 2021 has introduced some enhancements and new tools to make some previously cumbersome and time-consuming tasks a lot easier. I'm going to hand over to you by stopping my share, David.
Thank you, Paavo. Okay, that's brilliant. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen, which let's just go. Okay, good. So what I would like to do now is just continue this presentation. I have a bit of news about IFC support. In case you missed it, last year, we introduced IFC reading for AutoCAD and AutoCAD OEM. For those of you who do not know, neither of those products are considered BIM products by Autodesk, so we've added BIM support through IFC reading. And in a couple of months' time, we're hoping to add IFC writing as well. So that gives you full BIM compatibility if you want to add that to your product. What we found from several developers was that the implementation was extremely quick, between 15 and 30 minutes to add IFC read. The IFC write will be slightly more complex because there's a small API to map your objects to IFC objects, but we still expect it to be a rapid development time that will give you full BIM compatibility in record time. When this is released, we'll be emailing all of the OEM partners to let them know that it's available so you can have a look and test that product. So keep your eyes peeled. So time for another drink. I'd like to just thank you for bearing with us during this presentation. It's just been 40 minutes. Thank you so much. And take a moment. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We're going to take questions. And I could ask everybody to type them into chat because we have 89 participants at this point in time. So that's fairly challenging if we all went off and started speaking. So if you can look at the bottom, there's a small white box called chat. Type any questions you have in there. I'll shout out the question and we'll attempt to answer them below. Just see if we've got anybody who's asked. So a couple of people have asked, just to sort of kick things off, you know, if they could get a recording of this. This is recorded. I'm still recording now, so watch what you say. And we'll be posting that on the OTX site and making it available through Textile 3D after we finish this call. I've got a question here about training. Good question. Will we be offering online training for AutoCAD 2021 this year? Well, we do about 5 training classes a year globally. We've done one in India already. Pretty much all of the training classes we'd scheduled for the first half of this year we've had to cancel because they're face-to-face classes. We're still hoping, but we really don't know how the situation is going to play out, that we can do some face-to-face classes within Europe and the USA. But I might, Paavo, have you got a few words you want to mention on that? We've been looking at some alternatives. I think you're
since we don't know what it's going to be like, we are looking into training videos to do in self-paced training videos is one option for the different common tasks that people run into developing on OEM, and maybe there will be something specific for the 2021 release also. So far we reckon these will be shorter videos with 5 to 10 minutes maximum for each particular task. We have also looked into Google Classroom to provide online training, real-time training, and that will, if we don't travel more this year, we will probably offer that sort of virtual training, and those classes, I imagine those cannot be too long, between 1 and 2 hours, and they will be held on different days during a couple of weeks' time. So this is just discussions we had so far, and yeah, that's pretty much the status.
Thank you, Paavo. Yes, as you can see, we really don't know, but we're looking very seriously at online training and putting up some small training videos. We'll either host them on our website or through our YouTube channel. That's the other options. Anybody else got any other questions? I've got a question about contract limited, whether it will be affected by the named user versus serial number transition. I think, could I ask Klaus, are you able to talk to that? Would that be possible?
Yeah, so momentarily from the user perspective, no. So we still offer a perpetual license model. Will there be a multi-user offering after August 21? I doubt it. I cannot say no, but I doubt it. Because I don't think that we simply will offer the FlexiLab tool. So perpetual for a foreseeable time, yes. Multi-user August 7th, 2021. Likelihood very high that we discontinue this.
Thank you, Klaus. I hope that answers your question. I have another question here. It's about, is the code compiled on earlier versions able to run on 2021, or will it need special treatment? So Paavo, I don't know whether you're able to talk to that.
Yeah, so it needs to be recompiled. There's a new library version for the Object ARX libraries. I think it's 24.
So just a quick
release.
recompilation, nothing more is needed. Okay.
Well, there's a small detail. There is one module that has changed, that they have divided a bigger module into a smaller one. So there might be a relinking that needs to be done to a new library, but we will provide that information. It's on Autodesk ADN Dev blog already. But yeah, just send me an email and I'll explain that.
Okay. I've got somebody asking, Paavo, sorry, for 2021, is there a new DWG file format?
No, it's still 2018.
And I have a question.
Did you get that?
Yep. I have a question for Klaus. It's directed for you, Klaus. In the new tiered subscription model, I noticed third-party data access is limited for the standard user. Just to clarify, are third-party add-ins and app exchange still allowed to load for standard users?
That's a good question. First, understand to be understood. I need to clarify this internally and come back to you, Anthony, directly. We do that one-to-one. You can address that directly. You know my email address, klaus.müller, MUELLER @autodesk.com. I cannot comment now on that because I don't understand the question in full.
Okay. I have a question about, can you confirm for me BIM support included in OEM 2021 without any extra cost? What is the IFC version supported? So first of all, AutoCAD does not support BIM. It's not a BIM product. It doesn't support IFC. The IFC reader and writer that we spoke about is a Texel 3D product, which we sell as an additional module that people can integrate into their OEM or AutoCAD applications. We're supporting IFC 2x3 and IFC 4, if you want to know. Somebody's asking me, is there anything new in Inventor OEM 2021? Well, we don't have release yet, so that's a difficult question, but we'll be sure to tell you when we get the release downloaded and we've checked it out. So it's a little bit hard to answer a question before we have that. I'm just admiring people's backgrounds here. Some people have made some efforts. I can see Panagiotis, is that your real background? I know you live in Greece, or is that a fake background?
Yes, it's not real, of course.
Congratulations. It's very realistic. It's very good. And
Next time we do
Odo, you're on a boat. Thank you. Oh. On a plane? Good. Good. Well, I'm not sure if there are any more questions. I'm going to leave the lines open for a few more minutes and before we close the meeting, but let's see if anybody else has got any more questions. No? Okay, I have one more. How will OEM add-in products subscription licensing be addressed with subscription version of AutoCAD? How will OEM add-in product subscription licensing? Okay, so Paavo, you might be able to help, but I've got a pretty good idea. I think the question is, how will OEM add-in product subscription licenses be addressed with the subscription version of AutoCAD? Well, with AutoCAD OEM, it's your own licensing system. So if you decide to use subscription, that's your licensing system. That's really the answer. It's down to your licensing system. I'm I don't know whether you want to add to that, Paavo.
No, that's as I understand the question too. Yeah, it's in OEM you decide completely both the licensing model and the technical licensing solution. So it's, and if you want to combine that with a plugin that you have on subscription, no, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Well, Tolgay, thank you for the great background. I like yours. Thank you very much. And Vijay, I see you're in San Francisco. Welcome. Well, I'm enjoying all the efforts. Carol, yes. Where are you? I'm not sure that's a decent picture behind you.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. Ray, you're on the beach.
Yeah,
Lovely.
it's
Lovely
all
to see you.
enjoying.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm seeing if there's any more questions before we call it a day. How will the OEM? No, I don't have any more. If you have any more questions, folks, you know where we are. Please send us an email, ask us the questions, and we'd be happy to answer them. Okay. Oh, I've just seen Gaetano. Yeah, you've got a nice background. Where are you, Gaetano? It looks like a city.
I'm from Bolzano in South Tyrol. In Italy.
Oh, okay. There you are. Okay.
We are closed from house. It's more than a month.
Good.
So
Okay. Well,
I will work very hard at home. Much better than in office.
Okay. Good. Well, I think I'm going to raise my glass to everybody who's made the effort to come today. And, thank you so much. Stay healthy, keep safe. We'll see you at the other side of this. We'll see you by the beach next year. Okay. So cheers. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
All the best. Thanks
Thank you,
for
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.